Hello students and welcome again to Legacy IAS Academy. In this video, we will be discussing about Christmas. Yes, I wish you all a Merry Christmas and let's start discussing about Christmas itself in this video lecture. So Christmas, this article mentions that Christmas is not a Western story. In fact, it is a Palestinian story. So we'll understand what is this Christmas all about? Why is it being said that it's not a European or a Western story, but rather a Palestinian story, how it has been represented and what it actually is? This and much more is what we are going to discuss in this video. So let's get started. So what's the news all about? This article is all about trying to decode the actual reason of Christmas, right? At the same time, how it has been propagated, but what in reality it is. So Christmas is basically viewed as a Western Christian culture, right? The terms like Western Christian values, Judeo-Christian civilization, this is the dominant public rhetoric that is present in front of us, and which is nothing but Eurocentric, means European-centric. That is what we know about Christmas so far. However, the core argument that this article gives is that Christmas is not about Europe, it is not about Eurocentric, it is not about the Western civilization. Rather, this area that you see it over here, it's basically related to this particular area. So it's not a Western religion by origin, it is a West Asian, or you can say Middle Eastern religion. That means the narratives are rooted in Palestine, Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, and Jordan. So Jordan is here, you have the Palestine, etc. This is where it is originating and not in European country. Now, if you look at Christianity and geography and you try to link it, you understand that Jesus was a Palestinian Jew. He was, of course, Jesus is a prominent figure, is considered to be the Son of God in Christianity, but here Jesus is being said to be actually a Palestinian Jew and not a person from the West. And he was born where? He was born in Bethlehem. Right. Now, this Christianity basically emerged before the modern nation states, of course. So we are living in 2025, right? So basically in 0 or let's say 1 AD is where all it will start. Now, in a context of empire, occupation and displacement, that means at that point of time, the empires were trying to occupy each other and people were getting replaced. Now, Europe is the one which received Christianity and did not create it as such. See, these are facts. These facts are available. It's just that in the common public rhetoric, we don't, know this as a common knowledge as such. Now, let's understand the rereading of Christmas. Now, this Christmas is often portrayed as what? It has often been portrayed as a peaceful time or a festival, which of course it is, and at the same time a serene and an apolitical one. And this is how people are celebrating also. There's no doubt about in that. But the article argues that the biblical narrative suggests something otherwise. The biblical narrative means the narrative that is there in the Bible. It suggests that the birth of Jesus was under the Roman imperial occupation. There were forced displacement due to the census. Also, very important thing, there was violence against the innocents. The reference given to the Herod's massacre. So Herod was told that there will be a boy who will be born who is going to become the king of the region in the future. So as to ensure that no such boy is born, or even if born is dead, Herod gave an order to kill each and every child of age 2 years or less. So this was this kind of situation during which Jesus was born, is what the article is saying. Now, Christmas basically as a political story is what the article also argues. It says that Christmas reflects the empire and power, what was going at the time, the injustice and fear. People whose children were being killed, the children themselves are facing what? Fear, vulnerability of the ordinary people. These were all ordinary people whose children, and these children themselves were ordinary people who were being killed. So Jesus' birth actually occurred not in a palace but in poverty and insecurity. So this is exactly what happened during his birth. Now let us understand the Bethlehem of the past and present. Now the imagination or the Western view with respect to Bethlehem during Christmas or otherwise is what? That it is a timeless biblical symbol which is frozen in ancient scripture. That means a very romanticized picture of it. But if you look at the reality or the contemporary nature of it, it is basically surrounded by walls and checkpoints, and there is restrictive movements which is there in this particular region. Political fragmentation and occupation, all these things are the actual reality of Bethlehem and not the type of city it has been romanticized as. Now, the Palestinian Christians of today. So what about the Palestinian Christians of today? So these are the indigenous Christian community. They have survived for over 2000 years. However, they are as good as invisible to the global Christian discourse. Right? Now, the selective memory of power, the selective memory and power. Now, the ancient Bethlehem is basically a celebrated place because Jesus was born over there. But at the same time, the modern Bethlehem is inconvenient. This is the ancient Bethlehem which is celebrated. The modern Bethlehem is restricted. The movement is restricted. There are walls which basically it's like imprisons the city. These walls imprisons the city. So that is the reality. Now, Western political theology means the belief. They erase the Palestinian Christian presence. They are erasing. That is why the Palestinian Christians are becoming as good as invisible. If you look at the theological perspective, the central idea of this entire festival is, of course, divine solidarity. Solidarity means integration. Solidarity means togetherness, right? It is the togetherness which says that, and it's a divine togetherness which says that God does not rule from distance, from afar. God will be present within the people themselves. In fact, God identifies himself with the poor masses. Right, so God is not an elitist concept and someone who is ruling from afar, but is someone who is present within the masses, within the marginalized, right? And the incarnation symbolizes the incarnation, means the birth basically symbolizes the presence of God among the oppressed and power through vulnerability. This vulnerability is what gives you the power. Now let's understand the Gaza and the moral dilemma. Now this Bethlehem city where Jesus was actually born, it has banned the celebration of Christmas. Now why is that so? Because in the Gaza Strip, people are dying, children are dying. Isn't it the same as the Herodes massacre? It's the exact same thing that is happening. So how can it be possible that at one end there is the death of children, of people, hunger, all these things happening, and on the other side you keep on celebrating, as a result of which Bethlehem had cancelled public celebration for 2 years. Reason, of course, as I said, ongoing violence and the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Now it raises an ethical question. Can celebration and these kind of violence or terrorism wherein children are dying, can it exist together? This is also terrorism. When you basically terrorize someone, it becomes terrorism. When there are infants, there are helpless people and you're bombing and killing them, that is also terrorism, even if it is done by a state, right? You can call it as a state-sponsored terrorism or state terrorism, but even that is going to be terrorism. So can celebration and that violence go hand in hand? Probably not. But this year Bethlehem has opened for celebration. They have resumed celebration of Christmas because this is now, according to them, signifying an act of resilience, an assertion of existence and refusal to disappear. That through their celebration they are showing resistance to the power that is ready to kill them. So as a result of which they have opened back and now they are celebrating again. So Bethlehem basically is reaffirming itself as the Christmas capital. Thank you.